All right. It says I'm live, but I got people commenting on Facebook stuff. There we go. All right, I am live. I am driving again, doing my famous driving videos. It's a Saturday, so I've never done it on Saturday before. Look, I already got a thumbs up. I'm never really sure how many people be able to do the live thing on Saturday, so I figure here I am, you know, out doing errands and stuff. I could listen to the same crap on the radio, or I could talk to people and shit. The latest gaggle been going on, you know, last couple of weeks. Sephora, some company I never even heard of because it's like makeup and stuff. My wife heard of it, and they. Big company, gonna mass market this witch kit, a witchcraft starter kit, and everybody all up in arms about it, to the extent where there's so much backlash that the company pulled it. Now they're not gonna do it. I bet you they're gonna revisit it, figure out what was the most offensive thing, probably the smudge stick that was in there. They called it a sage bundle, but it's a smudge stick. Some people, you know, definitely called it out for that, you know, cultural appropriation and whatnot. And they said, well, some people said, well, they called it a sage bundle. No. It was a smudge stick. It was white sage wrapped just like you wrap a smudge stick. Looked like a little cigar, okay? White sage is native to America and Mexico. You know, southern parts of America and Mexico. It's indigenous to this land. So while our ancestors used sage in most cultures, they did not use white sage until they came here. And so if they used it after they came here, then they borrowed it from the Native Americans. So, and the tarot deck, yeah, the tarot deck was offensive. The tarot deck was some very fluffy looking thing. I mean, the whole thing was very fluffy. It was all like, you know, pastels, no dark colors, nothing very witchy. Looked like, you know, somebody, the type of witch that'd be in, like, you know, fairies and stuff. They'd love that kind of color setup. But that's not even what I really was going to talk about. I was just saying, you know, the general scuttlebutt out there in the world. But people are so up in arms. Commercializing the craft and blah 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 blah. You know, the craft's been commercialized since the first person made a potion. There are a lot of do-gooders out in the world. You know, say, oh, you should be, you know, doing your work for free, and, you know, giving people free spiritual supplies. And yeah, well, you know, unlike most people, I did that. I did my 20 years pro bono. I didn't charge anything. It was people donated to whatever they wanted to donate, which was, you know, usually not much. And even for classes and stuff, I taught for free. I did 20 years of that. I don't know anybody anything, and I didn't know anybody that. Old craft law, you know, the kind of old craft law that you'll never hear anybody say, except Uncle Birch. For everything that is taken, something must be given. We find this in all crafts. One place we find it really strong is in herb magic, work hunting. Every time we take something from a plant, we got to give something to the plant. You know, but it's universal. It's the laws of physics. It's that leaving a hole in the universe and nature abhorring a vacuum that you'd heard Uncle Birch talk about. That is actually, you know, that are actually the laws of physics. That kind of thing. So you probably haven't heard anybody else say that, but it's that same kind of thing. You can't leave a hole in the universe. You can't take something. You got to put something, or nature's gonna move to fill that void. Outside of all that, the thing that some of you newer witches don't understand is our history. A long history of bad press. And in most countries in the world, the word witch is still a bad word. except in the United States and other European countries where they have done a lot of PR work to make it not a bad word. We need all the good press we can. And these little kits and trinkets and shit like that people put out, I don't like them. They're not my thing. I wouldn't do that kind of thing. But they popularize witchcraft. Damn, I hate when people don't make it through the fucking light and I have to wait. They popularize witchcraft. And in my time, I've seen these trends come about here and there that have brought about a new popularity in witchcraft. One of those times was when the movie The Craft came out. Shortly after that, Charmed came out, and somewhere in there also practical magic. So you had your young teen witches, your older 30-something witches, and then kind of teen witches on the show. Barely ever watched Charmed, only because I had to, because in the witch store people would ask stuff that they saw on fucking TV, and I needed, be able to tell them how full of shit it was. But there's something that happens in that time, and I call it the time of the lipstick witches. And I've often equated it to, there's in the lesbian community, there are, there's lesbians and there's lipstick lesbians. And lipstick lesbians are the ones that dress pretty and have makeup, and they're very fashionable and stylish. That changed the landscape in witchcraft. Opened the door for whole new people, because even in our own communities, up to that point, witches tended to be uglier, let's say, less kept, less clean, so back to nature that they didn't bathe quite often. That doesn't popularize us at all, does it? Now I see this witch kit coming around. I see on the TV Charmed is having a reboot, and I know they're remaking The Craft. So in a way, our craft history is repeating itself, and you all in the witchcraft and magic spectrum, get ready, man. Get ready. There's going to be an upswing. This is the same. It's exactly the same. It's the same shows, actually. It's the same movies that happened before. And you tie that in with this big fashion company or big makeup company, I don't know who the fuck they are, trying to put out this very popular, nice little witch kit that, most parents wouldn't even be afraid of their children using. That just popularizes us. It makes us fashionable, trendy. I never wanted to be that, but for the craft to survive and for there to be more craft in the world, and we have all these spiritual workers now trying to make their living on the craft, much harder to do back when I started doing it. It was quite a long time before it became my full-time job, and that's because the world changed, not because I got so much better at what I do. It's the same thing I always did. But there was an upsurge in craft. There was an upsurge in popularity. You get the teens involved, man. You get the kids involved. That's the future generations of witchcraft. If we're not appealing to those generations and doing something trendy for them to follow, we will go the way of the dodo bird. So magic, witchcraft, about to have another heyday. Oh, come on, you fool. Don't you know how to make a right fucking turn in a green fucking light? Now, don't come over into my lane. This is my lane now. You don't get this lane anymore. Oh, shit. I forgot about the road construction up here. There's always something going on. All right, well, I thought I was going to have to end this video because I'm almost home, but now it'll probably be another 20 minutes or so. But there's these popularity times that witchcraft has. And before my time, it had those times. Different than the lipstick witches. It took a very long time, unless you count like Samantha and stuff. And then, oh God, who's the woman in Bell Book and Candle? See, back then, yeah, witches weren't ugly back then either. But it shifts back and forth, and there's these trends that come into the craft, and they change the craft. Aloha from Honolulu. Aloha, tidy catastrophe. God, I'm gonna have to try and navigate past this stupid freaking roadblock up here. The popularity thing, yes. So I have no problem with it, especially, you know, witchcraft is my business. There's more people into witchcraft, there's more business. I don't ever consider other workers, other craft people, competition. Ever since I left the little pond and moved into the ocean, I don't play petty little crap anymore. Faction fights, witch wars, none of that crap. I don't need to. None of ya, my fucking my former competitors can compete with me in the ocean. You'd have to be me. I don't know. Maybe it takes some personality. Dare I say charm, charisma. You can't do it. You can't be me. So you can't compete with me. And I don't want to compete with any of you anyways. I'm doing fine. I got more work than I can keep up with, really. Let's see. But popularity, witchcraft movements, it makes us popular. It keeps us in the mainstream. It makes it harder for people to keep us in a dim, dark place and heap shit on our heads. Call us evil, call us dark, all these kind of things, especially when you got the fluffy little Sephora witch kit. So I kind of hope that they revisit that, and maybe do away with the smudge stick. I don't know. I'm surprised that it was the complaints from the Native Americans and the witches that brought this product down, and it was not complaints by the Christians. I expected to see that coming. Didn't really see that manifest. It was all the witches and the Native Americans complaining that brought this thing to a halt. My phone just fell a little bit, but all right. At any rate, I'm all for popularizing and keeping good images of witches. I do not like the fluffy images of witches that, you know, Wicca has had to bring around for most of my life, but I understand the necessity. I understand why they have to, as soon as they go on TV, say, oh, we don't harm people. But then you get people like Silver Ravenwolf say, oh, witchcraft, the magic used in witchcraft could never, ever, ever be used to harm anybody. And I hate absolutes. I hate absolutes. I operate by the scientific method. If you put forth a theory and I can shoot down that theory, you no longer have a theory. That's how science works. People put out a hypothesis, somebody tries to disprove the hypothesis, and you only have to disprove one element of the hypothesis, and the hypothesis is shot. So if you ever use an absolute like ever, 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 I only have to find one incident where harm has happened or can happen with witchcraft, and then your argument's shot. So people go a little too far with their PR work sometimes, but we do need the PR work. I have no problem with the witch kits. Not my thing. Maybe, you know, hey, it'll corrupt some kids, get them involved in the dark arts. I'm all for that, because I'm Uncle Phil, and that's my message. Or Uncle Birch, sorry. I'm Uncle Phil too. See y'all.